Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show and tell you about Noom. Has Noom helped you? I believe it has.
Oh, that's got an app. You can do tracking. It's terrific.
It does. Noom builds personal plans that can meet individual needs. That's the thing. Takes into account any dietary restrictions, medical issues, other personal needs. That helps build a plan that works for you. And yes, so I know that you've had your own personalized program here that you've been working on. And
it's weight loss This is weight loss results that last. They stick around because you get yourself into a lifestyle change. That's what matters.
That's mainly it. You can't just say, I'm going to cut that out for a month and then go back to it. That's not what it is. So I'm glad it's helping you. That's great. And it really does. I like the psychology and biology-based approach here. Yeah. Noom Weight uses psychology. That's why they say losing weight starts with your brain, but it also takes into account your unique biological factors, Jimmy. All of your multitude flora and fauna that goes on inside of you there. Sure. Yeah. Stay focused on what's important to you with Noom's psychology and biology-based approach. Sign up for your trial today at Noom.com, Noom.com here. Based on 3.5-year study of actively engaged Noom users with minimum starting BMI of 25. Individual results may vary. Visit our website for more information. Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit more about Rocket Money. It's the start of a new year. It's the perfect time to get organized, set your goals, prioritize what matters most. And for me, top priority is getting myself together here. Financial wellness, doing that, which that feels important, just feels like adult stuff that you have to do. And thanks to Rocket Money, my goals feel achievable now. They show me all my subscriptions in one place, help me easily cancel ones I forgot that I've been paying for, which happened to me, absolutely happened to me. For years, I was paying for something. I was like, what is going on here? Rocket Money found it and saved me lots of money since then, because it's been a while. So they did a great job here. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all the app's premium features. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/smalltownmurder today. That's rocketmoney.com/smalltownmurder. rocketmoney.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
Welch's can't make everything make sense. Like why your mom still listens to the radio or what she meant when she sent that emoji. But a zero sugar drink that's still full of fruit flavor, we made that make sense. And strawberry, passion fruit, Concord grape, and more. You gotta sip it to get it. New Welch's Zero Sugar. Let's fruit stuff up.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Small Town Murder Express.
Yay, and choo-choo!
Oh, yay indeed, Jimmy. Yay indeed. My name is James Pietragallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I'm Jimmie Whisman.
Thank you so much for joining us today on a really weird, wild, insane show today, I swear. Every Express is nuts. Every regular episode, never mind. They're all crazy. Anyway, moving on. Wild show for you. Check this out. Definitely go to shutupandgivememurder.com.
Yeah.
Tickets for live shows, all of 2024 is available. Actually, not all of it, because a couple of the shows are sold out now.
Two are done for, yeah.
Definitely get your tickets immediately, because one of the shows that sold out is in November. So people are scooping these up. Even like Boston and New York in December are selling fast.
They're closing in.
Minneapolis, you can be our biggest show ever. If this venue sells out, you can beat Chicago. Now, whenever anybody talks to us and they say, what's the biggest live show you've ever done? We can say Minneapolis. Make that happen, Minneapolis, where I think it's in September. So do that. Get those tickets now. Shutupandgivememurder.com. Also, virtual live show going on sale soon. 420 virtual live show.
Right.
It's going to be a tradition here. We're going to tell a wild murder story just like a regular live show. We're going to wear a funny outfit. I know that. We have a plan for that. And I'm going to break out smoking apparatus that Jimmie will be terrified of. Multiple things.
Yeah.
I got a whole bunch of fun stuff lined up for him. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Make sure to get your tickets for that. Patreon.com/CrimeInSports is where you get the bonus material. Anybody $5 a month or above, you get it all. Everything. Couple hundred bonus episodes in the back catalog you can dip into whenever you want. And then 2 new ones every other week. 1 crime and sports, 1 small town murder. This week, no different. This week for Crime and Sports, we're going to talk about the strangest injuries in sports history.
Fantastic.
They don't have to be on the field, by the way. There's a lot of weird guys shooting themselves by accident and strange things like that. And then for small town murder, we're going to talk about, back by popular demand, old-timey murders.
Great.
We dip back into the newspaper archives and hear about just the brutality of the early 20th century, because it's hilarious how just frank they are about this stuff. Yeah. And all the people would be dead anyway, so who cares? It's one of those. We have a good time. They'd be 150 now, so it's a good time. We'll do all of that. Patreon.com/CrimeAndSports, and you get a shout out at the end of the regular show.
Absolutely.
Also, little show update, or not show update, kind of a program note. Note. If you listen on Apple Podcasts, they did a update recently, and it canceled out the automatic download feature. So
ridiculous.
So if you want your podcast to automatically download, you want your small town murder there when it's out, as soon as it's out, you can do that. Definitely go in there and manually adjust it and make it automatically download shit. Yeah. So you can do all of that. That said, I think it's time, everybody.
All right.
Let's do this. I think it's all time to sit back. Let's all clear the lungs. What do you say here?
Yeah.
Arms to the sky, everyone, and let's all shout, "Shut up and give me murder." Let's do this. What do you say, everybody? Let's go on a trip, shall we?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. We're going all the way to Idaho this week.
All right.
Between this and the Vermont episode, it's like we're barely in the United States. Both of these are very near the Canadian border. Yeah, very close up here. We're going to Sandpoint, Idaho.
Oh.
Sandpoint, one word.
Uh-huh.
There we go. Northern Idaho, up in the Panhandle, for sure.
Gotta be named after a bird, right?
I'm not sure. Maybe it's a location, a lake, or
there's a sandpiper.
It's just north of the Idaho Panhandle National Forest. So
yeah,
it's definitely the Panhandle, as we know. Panhandle behavior will surely follow. So it's about an hour 20 to Spokane, Washington, over there to the west, and then about 9.5 hours down to Hazleton, Idaho, all the way at the bottom, which is our last Idaho episode 417. No body, no crime, except for that head.
The original.
Messed up for that. This is in Bonner County. Median household income here is lower than the national average, $53,567.
Really?
Median home price, though, bonkers, $537,900, which is...
How are there people here?
I don't know. When the median home price is 10 times the median income, I don't understand how people...
What the fuck
this is
that?
People's second homes. This is ski stuff. It's shit like that.
They don't live here.
Some of the people do. Some of them don't. Or people kind of move here later if they have a lot of money. History of this town. In the 1880s, the Northern Pacific Railroad brought in European and Chinese people in to settle the area. Yeah. And Theodore Roosevelt, actually, in 1888, President Theodore Roosevelt, who was 29 years old and was a civil servant at the time, he went to Sandpoint on a caribou hunting trip.
Is that right?
Absolutely. He documented...
Sub-30, Teddy.
Yeah, he said that it was a rough and tumble environment in Sandpoint, and that's what he said. It was officially incorporated in 1898. Lumber was a big deal here for a long time. The Humbird Lumber Company operated from 1910 to 1944. Now, they took tons of trees out.
Yeah.
And then what they did is they sold stump ranches.
What?
A land full of stumps. That's what you got. Stump land.
Ranch.
Yep. So he would sell them cheap because the land was... it's all fucked out already. You cut all the trees down.
There's nothing there.
Nothing for them to use, so they give it to people who would then slowly clear much of the tree stumps. That's how they got people to do it. They sold land cheap, and then people would clear the stumps themselves. And then farming and ranching became bigger and that sort of thing. They had what they call the discovery of Lake Pend Oriel as a sports fishery. It's a lake. It doesn't seem like, how do you just discover a lake? It's there. People have seen it before. I think.
Is that the, yeah.
So, reviews of this town quickly. Reviews 5 stars. A fantastically quaint small town nestled among the Cascade Mountains. Sprawling lake with wilderness abound are breathtaking. There are eagles everywhere you look and adorable shops downtown. Oh. Wow. It's like the town's just like a little curio place.
Everywhere you look, there's an eagle.
Wow, just eagles. They land right on your hand, Jimmy. You can
all over the
place. You feed them like French fries. They're happy.
It's a
fly
fucking
away.
predator, you guys. Don't fuck with
they're
that.
Terrifying. Here we go. 4 stars. Sandpoint is a beautiful resort-like town. Everyone knows everyone, and the views are spectacular. Our lake is one of a kind. No matter which part you are near, you're sure to have amazing views. If you're more of a mountain junkie, which that can have multiple meanings. West Virginia, we've encountered plenty of those in our stories. Schweitzer is where it's at.
If you're a mountain junkie,
there is
meth.
There's meth in them nar hills, buddy. Get on up there. 2 stars. Sandpoint's lake is extraordinary, but the weather is very poor here. Poor.
I mean, it's almost Canada. What do you expect?
And it's in line with Seattle. They say Sandpoint's rainfall is only 8 inches fewer than Seattle. Those are their annual rainfall.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, it's Pacific Northwest.
And the winters are dark and creepily long. Hey, you're all the way up there. That's what happens.
Yeah. The geography and the mountains alone, for fuck.
That's it.
You're not going to have warm and beaches. It's not going to happen.
You're in Idaho. Fucking what do you want? Some people say 5 months, but it's more like 7 months of cold. If you love endless rainy days with no chance of sun, this is your place.
No chance.
Jesus Christ, no chance. Things to do here. Okay, the Winter Carnival.
Yeah. They do it in the winter there.
Winter, dead of winter, they say. Starts mid-February, so it's coming up. February 16th is the day one here. Yeah, that's it. Let's freeze our balls off, everybody.
Fucking vote in the Ice Queen.
Well, this is how they put it, too. Every year in the dead of winter since 1973, Sandpoint, Ohio cooks up a sure antidote to cabin fever. Mm-hmm. So yeah, get out of your. I think that's the point. Is come on out and mingle because you haven't been out in a while. It's the Sandpoint Winter Carnival, pure fun, celebrating the best of the snowy season. There's a whopping big 10 days fun. 10 days fun, Jimmy. Everyone, 10 days fun. Don't you want to be there? It's fun. How to get there? Oh my God! Mark your calendars right now. Well, I can't wait.
Yeah.
There's the parade of lights. Okay. Walk down the street and look at lights. That's the first day. The Great Winter Carnival Chili Cook-Off.
There we go.
That's what I'm talking about. It's back for a second year in a row. And, you come take part. There's tastings. And apparently there's a judge. The Golden Ladle prize is $200. That's if you win. Yeah. That's the coveted. They call it, quote, the coveted Golden Ladle.
Eat many bowls of chili and then shack back up in your cabin tonight with the rest of your family and shit your brains.
It is going to be a farty time there, boy. I'll tell you what. Open a window. It's fucking -12 out. I don't care. Live music with the Paper Flowers.
Oh.
Yeah, they'll be there. Remembering, oh my God, they're a Fleetwood Mac cover band.
Of course they are.
There we go. Well, you know what? I'd rather hear that than the Paper Flowers originals. I don't really need to hear that. So, fuck it, I guess. Play,
whatever.
Play Landslide again. I don't give a shit. Yeah. Do what you got to do. So there's live music all around town as well. Yeah. Where they say solo artist Jason Perry will, quote, be bringing the funk and vibes all night. That's why I go to northern Idaho. The funk. It's just funky up there. You know what I mean? There's also
the funk. Do they mean he stinks?
He's going to bring the funk. He hasn't showered in months. He's just been in a cabin with no shower.
And he's terrible at this.
Oh my God. Then they have skiing, tubing, wine tasting, yoga, Adrian.
It sounds fun, but I got to tell you, that weather is fucking punishing.
It's cold.
It is cold.
And they want you, the whole point of this is to walk around with a drink in the freezing cold and look at all this.
And
so
lose toes.
Yeah. Well, it's the toe loser, everyone. It's the annual toe chopper. Let's get in there. We're having our blue toe spectacular. It's going to be wonderful. That said, let's talk about a murder, shall we?
Let's do it.
Oh, boy. This is...
The weather doesn't kill anybody? Is that not...
This is a non-weather-related death we're going to talk about.
Is the suspect 12 below?
Small-town non-weather-related deaths this week. This is what we have to talk about here.
Small-town frostbite.
Small-town frostbite. So this is January 1994. Let's go back to. All right? And we'll catch up with a guy here. His name is Paul William Gruber, this man.
Yeah.
He is born in 1940, and he's 53 years old at this point in time. He is originally from Wisconsin. He was born in Schofield, Wisconsin in 1941, I'm sorry. And he's a retired teacher. That's what he did. And he also was a card dealer. Now, I think that means he was dealing in sports cards, if I'm not mistaken.
Really?
That sort of thing.
Like not a casino?
Maybe at a casino. That's possible. Yeah, he might be that. Like a dealer like that. That's possible. Either way, he made enough money to retire at this age.
Fantastic. Young man.
And he's got like some decent scratch in the bank, too. So,
really?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what he did, good investments or whatever, but he's able to move to this like resort area and live on a lake and go boating and shit all the time after being a teacher for 20 years. So that's not bad. So he moves to Sandpoint, and he loves Muskrat Lake. That's his jam right there.
Yeah.
Yep, just muskrats. They crawl right in the boat, boy. It's just beautiful. Tell you what. Are they mean?
A lake full of muskrats.
What is a muskrat? Are they mean? Doesn't sound good.
No, they're
musk and rat are both weird. You know what I mean? Musky is bad, and then rats
why they call them that, because that's stinky, right? Musk.
Yeah, like a muskrat. It's a rat, but really it's got an aroma to him.
They must got a stink sack somewhere.
A real manly smell to him, though. It's a real masculine. If we could jar
I hate
this.
rats. Less'n they smell real nice.
They smell like a nice cologne.
I can rub it under my armpits and pick up a girl at the bar.
Oh, that's going to be good. Come here, buddy. I keep one at home just to rub on me. It's cheaper than buying deodorant.
Need a little help today.
So he moved there. He's been there maybe a year and a half or so. So he's loving life. This is great.
Golly, what a great fucking way to live.
Paul Gruber, killing it right here.
Yeah.
So he spends Christmas of 1993 in Reno with his daughter, Shelley, and her family. Okay. She's got a husband and a son and all that sort of thing. So he spends time with them, spends Christmas season with his daughter, and then he comes back up to Idaho. So January 5th is the day he takes off to go back home. Now, Reno to here, if it's 9 hours and 30 minutes to Hazleton, which is at the very south tip. Yeah, very southern tip of Idaho. It's got to be another few hours to Reno. So this has got to be a 2-day trip, I would imagine.
Absolutely. You're stopping in Salt Lake or something.
Yeah, especially if you're by yourself. Nobody's taking turns driving. Yeah. So they wait a couple days, the requisite amount of time it would normally take him to get home. And then Shelley tries to call him and gets the answering machine, and tries to call him and gets the answering machine, and tries to call him and gets the answering. And this goes on for weeks.
Listen, he's on a streak in Reno.
Like, yeah, for weeks this goes on. And she becomes concerned, but it takes a few weeks, I guess. I don't understand why, because I get like, oh, maybe he decided to stay an extra day here. He's decided to take the fishing pole out over here.
Sure.
I don't know that's actually the middle of January. So whatever he's doing, I'm not sure, but I could see giving him an extra day or two. But after a week of calling him and not getting a return phone call from your dad, who normally calls you right back, it seems like you'd be very concerned at that point, no?
Yeah, he was supposed to be just a couple of states away that would not take 3 weeks to drive. So
exactly.
Listen, he broke down and walked it. That's he should be home by now.
Yeah, so by February now, a month goes by.
She didn't go by and say hello?
Well, I mean, it's a long trip. She's got a family. I don't know if she can, but she can have a welfare check done, maybe.
Yeah,
go by the house and see if he's there at least.
Mm-hmm.
So she called and left several messages, like we said, and, when she called, though, the problem was she's leaving all these messages. Her dad's outward message was changed.
Oh, in the interim?
In the answering machine. Yeah, when she started calling him when he was supposed to be back there, and they said it wasn't his usual friendly, humorous greeting. There was just a beep. Oh. So basically the voice was taken off of it rather than deleted. Going, hey, this is Paul. I'm not home right now. Give me a call. It would just, you'd hear the answering machine kind of pick up and there'd be a beep and then you talk. That's it. So she said
somebody unfamiliar is fucking with his voicemail.
That's possible. Or just, this is 94. So this is a machine with a tape and everything. I mean, right. So who knows? She said, quote, when I called on Josiah's birthday, that's her kid and his grandson, there was a voice on my father's answering machine that was not my father. So then now there's a new voice
what the fuck?
On there. This is February 23rd. So this is almost a month and a half. It is a month and a half.
Yeah, that's 6 weeks.
I'm calling the cops by now. I don't know about you.
For sure.
I'm either going
Somebody
there or
took over
calling
my dad's house.
Something's going on here. Well, if he doesn't call me in a month, I'm going to see if he's alive or if he, got home and had a fucking heart attack and he's been rotting in his bathroom or something. He is a 50-something-year-old man. I mean, that's...
Anything's possible.
Anything's possible. So finally, on February 28th, so she calls and gets a weird voice on the machine, still doesn't call the cops.
Really?
Then on February 28th, 1994, Shelley finally files a missing persons report.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, like we said, we don't know Paul or how he might go off on flights of fancy for a week here or something like that, but I gotta feel like, after almost 2 months, you gotta raise some flags here if he's normally in contact with you.
How much is he enjoying retirement? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Unless he found a lady, like, that's the only thing that could distract a man for a month and a half is new pussy. You know what I mean? Nothing else could do it.
Right. By now he's bored of retirement, and he's probably looking forward to a phone call from his kids or his grandkids.
Yeah.
So, unless, new pussy.
That would be the other distraction.
Stop calling. I'm busy.
Mm-hmm. New pussy, or does he have like a terrible gambling problem? And he's like he's on the lam right now. I don't know what's going on here.
Or a hot rod and new parts in the garage.
Yeah, just ready to burn through it. So they sent officers, the Bonner County Sheriff's Department, sent officers over to do a welfare check. They didn't see any signs of a break-in. So that's, door wasn't kicked open or anything like that. So that's good. But it was evident that a lot of his belongings were not there.
His house is being...
That's the problem.
It's disappearing?
All of his clothes are gone.
Really?
Guns are missing that he used to have in his gun safe. A computer, a TV, and also like all of his personal papers are gone.
Is anybody staying in the house?
Not that they can see.
Nobody's there. Yeah.
No one's there when they come in. It's empty and really empty. So these are the things that if you were leaving and moving, you would take. Clothes, TV, computer, guns, personal papers. Okay, I can get a new love seat somewhere else, but these are all the shit that I need to take.
Yeah.
So
a birth certificate.
That's one thing that they're like, okay, well, he's not here. No sign of there's not blood on the
shit's gone.
There's not blood everywhere or anything like that. Right. So who knows? So then Shelley said that this is really weird. She said she got a card. We'll talk about this. There's a card, and inside the card, the note was very short and not very affectionate. It was not the normal what he would write. You know what I mean? Yeah. So she went and pulled out the old birthday cards that she had saved to compare handwriting and signature and tone. This doesn't seem like Dad, does it? And she went and she goes, well, that's not the same at all. It doesn't look similar. Like everything looks wrong in the way.
Do we know what it said?
No, it didn't matter. Okay. It was a happy birthday.
It was just
card,
obvious.
It wasn't like, to my great grandson, who's awesome and I love him and blah blah blah. It was just kind of short and to the point, and it wasn't.
It was just happy birthday. Here's $5.
Yeah, it wasn't normal for Paul. So then, a little while later, a couple weeks go by. No Paul. Sure. He doesn't turn up. His new Ford pickup truck is found abandoned about an hour away from his house.
Brand new Ford truck.
Brand new. Keys still in the ignition, by the way.
We ain't doing that.
Keys in the ignition, miles from his house, an hour away from his house, just sitting there abandoned. So that's different. And then in March, they find someone finds Paul's cell phone by the side of the road.
Oh.
So, okay, no phone, no car. What's going on here? Then they... So what was that? They got the
Boner Police Department keeps not looking for anything.
This gets them very curious when they just show up and he's not there. Okay, he's a grown man; he's allowed to leave. Just because he didn't tell you, and they don't know what's going on in families. Maybe they had a fight and he doesn't want to talk to his fucking daughter.
Yeah, but
they have no idea.
Men, we don't leave our truck with its keys,
and
us nowhere nearby.
That's where the suspicion came from, was the car with the keys in the ignition, and then also finding a cell phone on the side of the road. Now they're concerned. Bad. Before that, they were literally like, he might have taken off. Maybe he bought another cabin somewhere that he went. Who knows?
I don't want to break it to you right like this, but perhaps he hates you.
Yeah, he might not like you. Did you do anything to piss him off? Maybe is that possible? So then they find that huge transactions are being made from his bank account as well.
Yeah,
Paul.
Retirees don't do that.
Yeah, which seems suspicious because Shelley said that he never, wouldn't use an ATM, did not like them and wouldn't use them. And bank records show that over a 2-week period, over $22,000 was taken out from multiple ATMs.
Holy.
They're like, there's no way Dad would be taking out $22,000 in cash all over the place. Yeah. And every ATM where cash was withdrawn, none of them had cameras. Every single one it was a non-camera one. It was just standalones with no camera.
Like somebody maybe knew.
Which is interesting, yeah, because they were like, well, we could find out and make sure he's doing it by finding footage. None of them had cameras, which is very interesting. So the problem also is his bills are getting paid.
Really?
Yes, because they're like, okay, well, someone's stealing his money, but then they're like, they contact the electric company and they say, no, he's paid up to date. He just made a payment on this day. Okay, the gas company made a payment on this day. Truck payment made.
What the fuck?
Yeah, that's what I mean. They're like, well, who the fuck would, who would?
Yeah, who's murdering or kidnapping and then paying their bills
and then paying their bills with their money, not stealing it, actually paying bills that for a dead person? That's ridiculous. Who would do that?
And then not ask for ransom or any reimbursement of that money?
Makes no sense, right? That's why they're like, that's weird. Even his mail's being picked up from his P.O. box. So they're like, what the fuck? What is happening? Where is he? Did he dig a hole in the ground and sit in it? Like, what the fuck is this guy doing?
Right.
Is he living amongst the muskrats? What are we talking about?
Just don't need a shower when you rub them under your arms.
No. So between the cops not having any answers and Shelley not being able to figure anything out, Shelley decides to try to set a trap for whatever's happening here. And
this is
the way we'll figure it
bank?
out. No. She leaves a message on her father's answering machine, okay, reminding him to do something, reminding him to send money for her husband's birthday, which is coming up next week. Meanwhile, her husband's birthday is not next week, and he wouldn't give him money anyway. So this is a test to see if this person goes, that's not your husband's birthday. What the fuck are you talking about? So instead, she leaves the message. 5 days later, a letter and card arrives in the mailbox addressed to her husband. Birthday. It's addressed to the husband, birthday card with a check for $25 in it from her dad's checkbook, signed, whatever, all that shit. So her father had never promised to send money. It wasn't her husband's birthday. Now she's like, okay, something's up.
Yeah.
Something's up. So now she goes to the cops with this, and they're like, okay, that's something. That's something solid, tangible. Because when they saw his bills were getting paid, they go, at that point, they got to go, look, he might you don't know. He might be going to the fucking track every day. You have no goddamn idea what this guy's doing. This might be, prostitutes and betting the horses. He might have gone batshit for all you know.
And that's his prerogative.
And that's a 53-year-old retired person's prerogative if they want to go bet the ponies all day and lose all their money.
If we go find him and he is knee-deep in cocaine with hookers, you realize we have to arrest him, right?
Yeah, that's going to be a problem. You're going to be very disappointed,
you let him be and let him smile for a little while.
Yeah, just leave him alone. So she takes the cards to the police department, and they get a handwriting analysis done, comparing the letter and the check with known handwriting of Paul.
Yeah.
Okay, investigators say they matched.
What?
So she's like, what the fuck are you talking about? It can't be did he have a stroke and forget who he is and he's wandering around like Mr. Magoo bumping into shit? This is insane.
Just writing checks to people on trust?
Just paying electric bills? Like, what's happening? So they felt this wasn't right at all, and the main reason was the P's on the
in Paul
in the letter. It's just in all the words with a P aren't like her father's P's, she said.
Oh, he writes a specific P.
She said this person made the P's look like lollipops. Dad's P's never looked like lollipops. Okay. So the police are launching a full-scale investigation of they don't know what because a card has P's that look like lollipops.
These lollipeas are killing us.
That's why they're investigating. Like, if you're the cops, how often did the conversation between them when they're sitting in the car with a sandwich go, this guy's just out, like, having a good time, right? Like, his bills are being paid. Never in the history of the world has somebody done a horrible thing and then paid the person's bills off for months afterwards.
She's a pain in our ass, and we don't even know her, right, guys?
Yeah, like, I don't blame this guy. So they say, tell you what, we know where his post office box is. Let's set up a camera, because this is before everywhere had cameras. Let's set up a camera on his P.O. box, and if someone comes and picks up the mail, we'll see if it's him or not. That's a good way to do it. So
Let's leave a message and say, make sure you check your post office box. I sent you something.
It's being picked up regularly, his mail.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's being picked up. Like, they go to the post office, they say, no, that box has been picked up all the time. Yeah, no problem.
Somebody's just living his life? He's just living his life.
Who
Somebody's
knows?
living his life.
Somebody's living some shit here. So March 1994, late March, they decide to set up a sting operation with the camera. So someone comes and picks up his mail, and it's captured on camera. They could see clearly who it is.
Oh.
Many local residents knew who it was. It was an obvious thing. When the guy's his physical, you can see him. Like, it's definitely him.
Yeah.
He's one of those guys here. Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you about the safest sponsor ever, Simply Safe. Absolutely. These people will keep you safe. It's amazing. You know that every 26 seconds a burglary takes place in the United States, according to the FBI. That means that by the time this podcast is over, dozens and dozens of homes will have been targeted, ransacked. God knows what happens here. So protect your home before it's too late with Simply Safe proactive security system. Simply Safe helps stop threats before they even have a chance to break in. Named Best Home Security System by U.S. News and World Report 5 years in a row. And by us for about the last 8 years as well. If you trust us, believe me, you want Simply Safe. So visit simplysafe.com/small to claim 50% off a new system with professional monitoring plan and your first month free. That's simplysafe.com/small. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
Now back to the show.
This show, Small Town Murder, is brought to you by BetterHelp. Get yourself some therapy, everybody. Honestly, here. We often hear about, red flags that you should avoid. Hey, that's a lot of a thing. It's become a real phrase now, real cliche. Yeah. But why don't you focus also, you look at like green flags in friends and partners. Look for good things as well. Right. And maybe you're not sure what that looks like, though. Therapy can help you figure that out. What are positive things? What are the green flags? And then you can practice them in your relationship. It's absolutely a fact. And so, honestly, we absolutely are huge advocates for this. It really, really helps. BetterHelp is fully online, making therapy affordable. It's convenient. They serve over 5 million people worldwide. You can access a diverse network of more than 30,000 credentialed therapists, wide ranges of specialties there. Here's the coolest part. You're not getting along with your therapist, you're just not feeling it, you can switch at any time, no extra charge.
Wow.
The thing is, they want you to get help. That's it. And you can do it with BetterHelp. Discover your relationship green flags with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/smalltownmurder today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
His name is Darrell Robin Kuehl. Kuehl. So that's the guy that is picking up his mail. So they find out from around town that, yes, it is Darrell. And Darrell does know Paul because, according to a bunch of people in town, Darrell has been working as a handyman for Paul up at his house, on and off. Okay? Now, Darrell Robin Kuehl, he's born in 1950, and he, from what we understand, he's kind of a down-on-his-luck guy. He's a Mormon who's known has a good reputation around town as well. He's married with 7 kids. Darrell. So he's a married, 7 kids Mormon guy who's been down on his luck a bit here.
Yeah.
Him and his wife aren't getting along.
So a guy with 9 mouths to feed is having a hard go?
Hard go. Well, also him and his wife he's living on couches right now.
Oh,
so he's
not even at the house.
Separated. He has no money. And he was trying to get, according to some friends, he was trying to get Paul Gruber to invest in one of his companies, which turns out to be just a bogus shit pile. Just trying to steal money from him, but scam him, basically.
Sure.
So they talked to Daryl, and Daryl says that he and Paul Gruber were involved in a business venture, and that's why he was picking up the mail. Okay. That's what he does, because there's business stuff in there for both of them. And he said, I saw Paul, last I saw him was February 18th, 1994.
Okay.
So, which is a month and a half past when the daughter saw him, but still, well shy of now, because now it's like late March. So then they said, okay, just to make sure, Paul Gruber, and they show him a photograph, and he said, wait a second, no, the guy in the picture is not Paul Gruber.
Okay, what?
He said, that's not Paul. The cop said, what the fuck are you talking about? That's his driver's license photo. And he goes, well, that's not the Paul I know. He said, the Paul I know must be somebody else. That must be, I don't know, but that's not fucking Paul. I know Paul is a completely different face than that. That's crazy. Okay.
What is going on?
This is weird, right? All right. Shit's weird. Okay. April 17th. He's saying, I dealt with an imposter, I guess. I don't know what's going on. So April 17th, 1994. Okay, they go into Paul's house, the cops. They're just going in to look around every once in a while, basically.
3.5 months post no Paul.
Yeah, and they don't even know if he's around, if he's missing, if somebody else.
It's been 90 days.
No one knows
anything.
People
that have done work on contractor work have been paid by now.
It's thawed. We've gone from fucking winter to spring, for Christ's sake.
Oh, my God.
Birds are chirping. Leaves are blooming. This is insanity.
It's Flag Day.
It's fucking Flag Day, goddamn. You just paid your taxes 2 days ago. You went from that. It went from New Year's Eve to fuck did we file our taxes. He's still gone.
Right now.
Wow. So this time they're walking around Paul's house, and they see there's a rug, and one of the investigators trips over the rug. And when you trip over a rug, not a carpet set in place, a nail, just a rug on the floor, the rug comes up with you. Yeah. But it doesn't. It stays in place.
Oh, it's stuck.
So they figure out that it's glued to the floor.
That's not how you use a rug.
Who the fuck ever glued a rug to the floor? I've never seen that before in all of ever. The point of a rug is it's portable. You can pick it up, beat it against something outside, clean it, put it back.
Yeah.
That's the point.
Lies. That's the whole point of it.
Yeah, otherwise you get carpet. Maybe he was building up carpet eventually. Just put one square at a time.
One of these days we're going to get tax strips around here.
I'm telling you, man, it's going to be something. We're just gluing them down one square at a time. A glued rug. So they're like, that's not right. So they pull up the glued rug, and they find a big gouge in the hardwood floor that the detectives say is very consistent with a bullet ricochet off a hardwood floor.
Oh.
That's the gouge type. So they, that now it's a crime scene because they want to make sure of this. They test it all. The mark in the floor tests positive for gunshot residue.
Yeah.
So it's a bullet mark in the floor. Yep. So they're like, okay. Then they luminol this joint and conduct more tests because they know where to look, at least, because before that you can't just luminol an entire house. Like, that's not really
it's a lot of luminol.
It's not really possible. So they find blood stains at that point.
Under the glued rug.
Under and around in the room here.
Okay. Yeah.
So they bring in dogs at that point. Now they're like, okay, well, let's make sure the body's not anywhere here. Cadaver dogs. They search the whole property, the whole area around it, everywhere, the whole house, nothing. They don't come up with shit. Okay, so there's been blood. There's been a gunshot. There's 2 different imposters at this point, possibly.
At least.
So back to Daryl now. They go, we got this Daryl guy. There's something about this Daryl Kuehl guy here. So they examine the bank accounts of both Daryl and Paul next to each other now, okay? And they uncover large deposits into Daryl's account, coinciding with corresponding amounts withdrawn from Paul Gruber's account.
The same amount of money coming out of Paulie's account is going right into Daryl's
the same day, yeah. And Kuehl said, they asked him, what up with that? And he goes, Paul asked me to do this. I'm paying his bills for him. He told me to transfer money and pay his bills.
Okay, so he's paying the bills.
He said, yeah, he told me to. Well, the guy, not the Paul Gruber they know in the picture.
A guy named Paul Gruber told me to.
Yeah.
Ain't that guy.
With all this information with Paul Gruber's bank account. So he said that, he said that, he said he was going to Canada and taking a trip up there, a place he always wanted to go. He was finally going to go do it. And he said, would you pay my bills for me? Because I'm not going to be in a place where I could do that. So I said, sure, why not? Because I was, was handyman.
Because I'm here.
Yeah. So then August 23rd, 1995. Here we go. Okay. Detective Harvey Thompson. He has been walking around in the Gruber's home with a contractor who worked on the home.
Oh, this guy's familiar with it.
Yeah, it's the guy who built it, I think. And so he says he's walking around with him. This guy's got blueprints and shit. And he's saying, is this the way the house was when you built it? Is there an extra wall in? Or literally, false walls, false anything like that. And the guy goes, no, it's same structure. It's the same as it is in the blueprints.
This is my work. Yeah.
But then they walk into one room and go, whoa, that's weird. The floor really sinks in here for some reason. The floor's sinking. It's a depression in the floor, and you step on it, it's soft. Yeah. And he's like, that shouldn't be like that.
I didn't do that.
There should definitely be, shit under this.
Better floor than that shit.
Yeah. So they go, well, that's not great. What's under here? So they decide, let's go ahead and dig that up. And when they dig that up, they find Paul. The real Paul. Real Paul.
Really?
Real Paul, they find his badly decomposed body in the crawl space under his home, 4 feet beneath the floor. Now,
so the wood floor was soft?
The wood floor was soft because the way this guy dug it out, basically, whoever killed him dug it out and didn't realize that when a body decomposes, it shrinks down.
Yeah,
so then the floor settled down on top of the body.
Wow.
Because it was all flush when he put the floor back on. So the body is wrapped in a deflated air mattress, which is the saddest.
Oh, dude, that's fucked up.
The least, it's the most indignant end to undignified end to a life that's ever happened right there.
It's sad to be on top of that, let alone inside it, for Christ's sake.
It's wrapped up in a deflated air mattress. That's just sad. The body, from what they can tell, has suffered 4 gunshot wounds inflicted by a .22 caliber gun. Now, later, they feel like it's possible that these are 2 different guns that shot him also.
Really?
Okay, yeah. That's interesting. So after this, they found that when they're talking to Kuehl and they say, do you have a .22 caliber? And he says, yeah. They test it, and it doesn't match Kuehl's gun. Okay. The bullets, which is fine because you can't have another gun. Yeah. I mean,
there's so many of those.
It's a .22. So then there's a woman who's friends with Kuehl. Okay, he's friends with Kuehl and Kuehl's wife Christine, and she says yes, the couple knew Gruber, and this woman says that she was asked to destroy. Daryl asked this woman to destroy one of Gruber's gun cases. So she did. She burned it. Okay.
A gun case?
A gun case, not a safe, a case. So it's probably wooden, like a display case, not a actual, case.
Right. Like a hutch.
Yeah. So at the request of Christine Kuehl, Daryl's wife, the woman also tossed Gruber's briefcase containing papers and a video camera into a local landfill as well.
At whose request?
At Christine, who is Daryl's wife. Okay. Daryl's wife, who's closer to her than Daryl is, said, would you throw this in a landfill and burn this gun case? And said it was Paul's. So then they have to pay, the state has to pay a bunch. This landfill, since between then and now, has been shut down. Yeah. It's no longer in operation.
Okay,
so, they have to go in there, and they have to pay like $50,000 to reopen the landfill to be able to fucking get in there. So just to look for this briefcase cost them $50,000.
Wow.
Just in that, and then all the man hours it takes to search through a landfill, which is, quote, the size of a football field for a briefcase.
And that's a $50,000 exploratory dig, because even if they knew it was in there, it would be hard to do. They don't even know if it's certain, if it's 100% there.
Who knows if someone came and, just scavenged through it too and said, oh, look at that, a perfectly good briefcase, and grabbed it. People scavenge through landfills. So they do this, and with the help of the woman who threw the briefcase out, said, this is the general area I threw it in.
Oh, so she definitely put it in there.
Oh, yeah, no, she did it. She said, I did it for him. I burned the gun case. I threw the briefcase in there, and they find the briefcase.
Wow.
So that corroborates a lot. Now, that's Paul's personal briefcase with Paul's personal papers and his video camera.
Thrown out by this guy that says he doesn't know Paul.
This lady who only knows Paul through Daryl.
This guy who says he doesn't know him as that guy.
Exactly. So then the landfill was permanently closed. So at that point, once they have this, the head prosecutor says, we were ready to take this case to court without a body. There was plenty of indication Gruber was deceased and of who did it. He said that before they even found the body. And then once they found the body in the briefcase, they're like, okay, not no body, no crime now.
Yeah.
We got a body, we got a crime. So January 1996, and they still haven't arrested Daryl, by the way.
No.
This has been 2 years since this happened.
Yeah, but he says he doesn't know him.
He says he doesn't know him. So the officer conducts a photo lineup with the friend of Gruber's who claimed he might be able to identify a person who possibly is involved. So they're going to see. And he identified Kuehl as the man he had seen in a videotape shown to him by Gruber when they were doing something. And Gruber identified him as Daryl. So he's like, that's the Daryl guy I know that knows the real Paul.
Daryl definitely knows.
He knows the real Paul because this guy knows Paul. So then the issue of the handwriting in the signed checks is unresolved. Initially, the document examiner said that Gruber wrote the cards, and the family said no. Then they get a different expert, kind of a more exalted expert here. He looks at everything, and he found significant differences in the two samples, determining that Gruber did not write the birthday cards.
Yeah.
So the handwriting instead, he said, matched Daryl Kuehl, who, including on several checks supposedly filled out by Gruber, too.
That's the lolly man.
Now, bullets found in Gruber's body were fired through a silencer that they found in Kuehl's possession as well.
What?
Yes. There was a couple of bullets that were
Why does he have that?
That's scary. Well, he's got That's
dangerous, man.
You want to talk about weird here? Okay. 4 bullets were found in Gruber's body. Crime lab report showed 2 of the bullets were deformed by being shot through a silencer, and it matched the one. And also the .22 caliber pistol confiscated from Kuehl had a silencer mounted on it at the time they took it. So that's not wonderful. Then they take the envelopes and the cards they got and search them for fingerprints.
Yeah.
No fingerprints on them. But it's 1996-ish going in there. They say there's a long shot, but we may be able to extract DNA from that stamp. This is like
somebody licked something? Yeah.
Right in the beginning of when that was possible to do that.
And right at the end of licking stamps.
Yeah, and right at the end of right at the end of using stamps. It's the last stamp you used.
I got a bunch of them.
Yeah, no, I got them. I don't know what I got them for.
Shitloads of them.
I don't know
just
for what.
Case.
Yeah. So they take this, and he might not even have known that was physically, scientifically possible to do that at the time. It was such new technology. And so they do this, and they match the DNA to Kuehl as the stamp licker.
Wow.
Daryl is a stamp licker. So just in case, though, they go, you know what? Tell you what, Daryl, you keep saying there's an imposter that you claim is that's the Gruber you know. So
set up a meeting.
Let's do this. Sit you down with a sketch artist, and let's get a picture of this imposter here.
Yeah.
Because it's just not Daryl. So he sits him down, does the whole sketch. The sketch looks exactly like the sketch artist. How fucking great is that? He described the sketch artist to him.
The sketch artist just drew a self-portrait.
He drew a self-portrait and then they all went, it looks like the fucking guy who drew it, and laughed their asses off because Daryl has the brain of spackling compound. He's a fucking idiot. What a dumb shit.
He just described the face he's looking at.
Yeah, he didn't have any other, he couldn't imagine another face.
He had no other reference.
He couldn't imagine just a guy you went to fucking school with, a dude you used to work with. Just pick one out of your ass, a person you know.
Here's a guy that's not me. I'll just describe him.
Yeah, have him draw, who knows, was it 96? Have him draw Dan Rather. Who gives a shit? Somebody that's not in the room would be helpful. What a fucking dummy. That's one of the
amazing.
dumbest things anybody's ever done on this show. And that's saying something for this show. That is panhandle behavior right there. That is.
He didn't.
He
Didn't have any other thoughts in his head.
He couldn't think of another human face except for the one sitting before him. How many people have you seen in your life?
I can't do the real Paul. I can't do me. That'll look bad. Yeah. That guy.
What about you? How about just pick a guy from a job from 10 years ago you worked on and just have him draw that guy? They'd never know who that was. Some fucking guy from the plant.
Have him try fucking Gene Wilder. Anybody.
Oh, my God. What the fuck? So then they get a search warrant. Now they're like, let's search Kuehl's property. They find a hidden door in his house.
Oh, Kuehl.
They find a hidden room that contains, it's his weapon room. It's just full of weapons.
Really?
Everything from fucking katana swords and throwing stars and handguns and fucking all sorts of shit in there.
Wow.
Like that, including a .22 caliber handgun with a homemade silencer on it as well. Yeah. Also on his property, a ton of Paul's tools and furniture, Paul Gruber's tools and furniture, and all sorts of other shit. Most of his stolen belongings, including his boat and his money.
Really?
Yes. So that's not great. So they go ahead and arrest Daryl here. That is May 20th, 1996, they arrest him.
What was his end game?
To just live till he drained his bank account, I'm sure. Then what?
Just pay his bills and then...
no one would know. Like, you're not thinking of a forethought of eventually people are going to look for this guy. Never thought of it. So May 20th, 1996 is when he's finally arrested. So 2.5 years, essentially.
Yeah.
That's crazy. He's arrested in Washington, actually, in Washington State, which isn't far. And he fights extradition. He's fighting everything.
Go back, huh?
Nope. While awaiting extradition, though, he has a plan. He's like, okay, they're not going to extradite me because I'm going to escape this motherfucker.
How?
He said when they're transporting him, that's when the escape's going to go down.
Wow.
So he attempts to escape from custody by offering other inmates $15,000 for killing the transporting officers. You kill them.
What would be the interest? Holy shit. Did they accept this?
No, they didn't believe he would pay them and told the cops on him. So,
good.
Yes. They two cellmates who bunked with him while he was awaiting extradition to Idaho said that he tried to arrange the deaths of 3 Bonner County deputies, including Thompson, the guy who found the body. So he's one of the guys that's going to pick him up. Nice. James Lawrence Connor was the prisoner here. He said he led Kuehl to believe that he would kill the 3, and Kuehl offered him $5,000 for each person that he killed. So for helping in the escape, too, he was going to pay somebody else $1,000 and give him 2 vehicles as well.
Okay.
So this informer, who is now working for the cops, told him about this. When he gets released from jail, he arranges a meeting with Christine, Daryl's wife. She delivers $1,000 and the title to 2 vehicles.
Oh, no.
Unfortunately, the informer had 2 undercover officers in the car with him that then popped out and said, well, that's fucked. You're done there.
I mean, you're in trouble now, too.
Yeah, so now they suspected that his wife had helped cover up the murder and was part of the escape plan, but she's never arrested or charged.
Really?
To me, that's an arrestable offense if you're paying off a bribe that has killing cops involved in it.
Yeah, that's conspiracy and murder involved together.
Yeah, you're involved in that shit big time. Hey, everybody. Just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit about Sono Bello. You know, the most known secret with celebrities and influencers and all these famous people is so many of them have had lipo. They've had lipo, whether it's a little touch-up here or a total makeover.
Yeah.
Nobody has a perfect body. That's the thing.
No.
They may look like it on TV, but there's things that help that. Absolutely. Lipo now has changed, and Sono Bello's been at the forefront with using LAL technology and getting those beautiful and natural outcomes for each person. Looking real natural. Our friends at Sono Bello are offering their best deal. You're now included in their winter savings event, but appointments are limited, so please get on this. Sono Bello doctors are masters in micro-laser fat removal, a brilliant technique that removes stubborn fat permanently. Wherever your problem areas are, tummy, love handles, thighs, arms, it's gone in one comfortable visit. Eating healthy and workouts are great. Keep doing that, but if you want to lose that stubborn fat in one visit, check out Sono Bello. Save big during their winter savings event. Schedule your free consultation now at sonobello.com/smalltownmurder. That's sonobello.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit more about our stylish friends at Quince. That's right. Let's go elevate your styles, people. Yeah. Get it going, look good out there, and you can do it now without breaking your wallet, without breaking the bank, because at Quince, you can get high-end, versatile pieces at prices we can all actually afford, which is very nice. You want to get good stuff that lasts and it's good, and they have quality stuff that's very affordable, and you can do like we did, upgrading our stuff here, while still being a very reasonable price. Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, responsible manufacturing practices, along with premium fabrics and finishes. It's all quality stuff. You're going to love it. Trust us, it looks good. And I've got the leather jacket. It's a very high-quality item. Real nice, soft leather. Yeah. Jimmie's got his linen pants he's rocking.
Yeah. They're terrific.
Come on, be like us. Be fashionable. Get in there with Quince. Indulge in affordable luxury. Go to quince.com/smalltownmurder for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/smalltownmurder to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit about a very cool place, Thrive Market. Yes, we are both looking to get into the healthy swing this year. The problem is I don't know what's in everything, and I don't know if even I'm qualified to even read the labels to know if that's good or that's bad. Right. There's chemicals in things, and there's things floating around. I don't know what I'm doing out there. One of my favorite features, and I know you were talking to me about this, is the Healthy Swap Scanner in the Thrive Market app. Yeah, it's simple. You scan any item, and it'll instantly suggest a cleaner, healthier grocery alternative, which is
it's great.
Amazing. Yeah. That's great. Thrive Market also takes the guesswork out of finding these safe, healthy foods. For example, like I'm trying to get my protein intake up for energy. I'm always moving around. I need stuff, and I love that you can filter their site by the high protein options.
Nice.
It's very cool, and you can personalize this portion, and you can put filters on it. And get ready. You should be ready for a junk-free start to 2025. Get ready for it and head to thrivemarket.com/smalltownmurder and get 30% off your first order plus a free $60 gift. That's THRIVE market.com/smalltownmurder, thrivemarket.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
So, anyway, there's another plan. That's not his only plan.
Oh, really?
His other plan was to, this is fucking awesome, he had a plan to find a homeless man, give him the details of the murder, and videotape a confession from him to clear Daryl.
Okay.
What the motivation this said homeless man would have to do this, I have no fucking idea. But he really tried to do this, though. This was his fucking thing that he was going to do. He even has, we'll talk about it later, he's got a script for it and everything. It's fucking amazing.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, he had a script that they found that was like, I feel bad now that this guy is in trouble. I heard somebody got arrested for it and blah, blah, blah. It's fucking ridiculous. So he's extradited anyway out of here, which is for the best. So he's they pull him out. Here he goes. Pre-trial. The prosecutor says, as all of the evidence comes out as this case unfolds, it's just going to astound people. This has been one bizarre tale, which is
yeah. It's sticky, man. It's deep.
It's so weird. So the state asks for the death penalty. They say if he's found guilty, they're gonna press for the death penalty. Yeah. They say he exhibited utter disrespect for human life and was motivated by greed. Which makes sense. They said it was he had less than a normal amount of provocation for killing this guy, which is none at all.
and it's obvious that the motive is robbery. He's literally took all his shit.
That's absolutely. And they said also he tried to escape. They said this would have been done for the purpose of an attempt to escape. If the defendant had been successful, it would have triggered other aggravating factors as well, because then he would have killed other people. Now, one thing they're not going to let in is a taped interview with Kuehl that has terrible quality. You can't hear it. The judge likened it to Charlie Brown's parents. That's what it sounded like.
Underwater shit. Yeah.
Yep. The judge, after trying to understand it for a while, he said, "You've had this tape for 2 years. It seems to me that you would know by now that if it would be of some value. Like you would know if it sounded like this. Right. So why the fuck are you showing this to me?" The prosecution in their opening says, as this case unfolds, you're going to find Mr. Kuehl is a very together type of guy on how he went about this. Yeah, he was paying bills, for Christ's sake.
Right.
But he had made some small errors along the way that have become very significant. Through modern forensics, some astounding things have been found. And then he said, points at fucking Daryl and says, this is the fake Paul Gruber.
There he is.
There he is. And the real murderer in this case, after he killed Paul, he stole his car, boat, truck, forged checks, all this to keep the charade alive, to keep looting the man that he killed.
Yeah.
Okay. So the defense opening, they described Daryl as a just salt of the earth, church-going man with a large family. He's a non-drinker. He doesn't use drugs.
Yeah.
Nothing. He has a day planner that he holds up that he says this is what Daryl uses to religiously document his life. And he said, this is going to vindicate my client. It doesn't say killed Paul anywhere in here.
No.
So, I mean, it didn't happen. He told the jurors that the next few days you are going to see a man who nobody believed from the beginning.
Oh.
He said he was always the guy they were going to pin this on. He said, quote, you're going to hear mountains of testimony on what happened before January 5th and mountains of testimony on what happened after that. There's a large space in between where we don't know what happened. What the state is going to ask you to do is to make that leap in between the two mountains. Well, we know you had all his shit and were paying his bills. So
right.
And lying to his kids, sending out birthday cards. So the defense's case is that someone else killed Paul and was impersonating the teacher, and he's the guy who loaned Daryl the property. So he's saying, listen, there's another imposter. That's his argument, is that, listen, the Paul I knew for years that's an impersonator.
So ain't him.
His whole case is there are two different Pauls, and whoever that other Paul is
he's got to have been dead for years.
Who knows how long
I never met
Paul's
that
been
guy.
dead for. That's what he said. I never met the real Paul. He said so there must have been someone else. His attorney, this guy's name is Brett Featherston, the poor bastard who has to say this out loud in a courtroom.
Yeah.
He said that Kuehl met this guy more than 3 years ago. He's the guy who loaned him the truck and the boat and the money, and he must have been impersonating Paul. This is the lawyer said, quote, the state's case in a nutshell is that Paul Gruber disappeared and that Daryl Kuehl was found with some of Paul Gruber's property. We aren't going to dispute that. What we are going to dispute is the fact that Daryl Kuehl ever even met Paul Gruber.
Okay.
So they have a trial. They present all the physical evidence and all the financial and all the evidence we just told you about.
Yeah.
So during the defense's closing arguments here, they maintain that he never met Paul. He said if it was, never met him.
Whoever did this is diabolical.
I don't know this guy.
They assumed his life and then framed this man by giving him all his shit.
And that's exactly what they said. They said it's an imposter who gave Kuehl thousands of dollars, a boat, a truck, and other property belonging to Gruber. It was all a big plan to frame Daryl Robin Kuehl for Gruber's death if and when the authorities found the body.
Poor son of a bitch.
He said Daryl and Paul did not associate with each other, and Daryl did not kill him. He said he must have been attacked by a burglar. Maybe there was that. And he said the police just focused on Kuehl, who has no criminal record, ignoring other perfectly good leads.
Okay.
Yeah, he said, quote, this case is riddled with questions. It's riddled with a lot of answers, really, and they all lead to...
There's a lot of questions, like, why did you describe the artist to him?
Here's a question. How did you think you were going to get away with this in the end ever? That was a question I'd like to know. It's the only one I'd like to know.
Why'd you make that poor man draw a self-portrait, you son of a bitch?
Looked at himself. He goes, that looks familiar.
You evil bastard.
The prosecution, their closing, there's a shitload of drama in this, boy. It's funny.
Oh, boy.
Oh, yeah. He says this is the prosecutor. Was an intentionally deliberate act, not an accident. Accidents don't get shot 4 times. Accidents don't get shot 4 times, a funny line. Accidents don't get buried under the house.
Why is he the accident?
Accidental killing, I guess. The evidence in this case is too strong not to convict. The family is entitled to it. The defendant deserves it, and justice demands it.
Demands it, you bet.
He said, do you want to know who that fake Paul Gruber is? It's the person whose DNA is on the postage stamp, whose handwriting is on those checks. This is the fake Paul Gruber and the real murderer in this case. It sounds like this is like a TV show. This is the real man. He's not an imposter. This is like a Scooby-Doo and a Perry Mason rolled into one.
This is the real imposter. Wait, what?
Hold on. As he said, this is the fake Paul Gruber and the real murderer in this case. He points at Daryl. Daryl stands up and shouts, "That's a lie!" In the middle of closing arguments. In the middle of closing arguments.
Why do they do it?
Unbelievable. They said the jurors jumped out of their chairs, scared the shit out of them. So you don't want to terrify the jurors who are about to vote for your guilt or innocence.
But you do want to trigger somebody like him because he will incriminate himself and sink his own ship.
Yep. That's
a lie.
And the judge told him, you wanted to speak, you should have testified a week ago, and you didn't want to, so sit the fuck down and shut up, basically, is what they told him. So then the prosecutor said, after he cold-bloodedly killed Paul Gruber, stole his car, boat, forged his check so he could keep this charade alive and loot him. And so it's a 3-week trial. Because they had a lot of financial records to go over. That shit takes a while. So the deliberations pop up. It's a 7-woman, 5-man jury. They deliberate for about 4 hours one night, and then they're sequestered for the night, and then they come back the next day. What the fuck is taking you 4 hours here?
I don't. There's DNA, for God's sake.
I mean, there's DNA, which, by the way, back then still was, people were shaky about.
Ground,
But how do they get that out of a stamp, they'd say? Well, they're scientists and you're not stupid. That's how they get it out of a fucking stamp. When you flick the light, when you turn a switch, how does the light come on? Can you explain that either? So do you believe in electricity?
Get back and clean those carburetors.
Jesus Christ. So they do all of that. It's a day and a half of deliberations, which seems like a long time. He's up for 5 counts of forgery, first-degree murder, burglary, all sorts of shit.
Oh, my.
They find him guilty of all of the above here. Now, sentencing comes around. The judge does not agree with the death penalty for him, though, for some reason. And the judge says, you, sir, may fuck off 25 years to life.
Wow, that's interesting.
25 to life, but not life without and not death penalty. Yeah. So we'll find out when he'll be eligible for parole. I think it's when he's 84 years old he'll be eligible for his first parole. So he won't be impersonating a lot of people then. No.
He's going to be impersonating Orville Redenbacher.
Yeah, going to be impersonating a corpse. He's going to really be impersonating Paul at that point. So in June 19th, 1997, he wrote a letter to the Bonner County Daily Bee newspaper.
Really?
Where he said, quote, I was framed and false things have been used against me.
Huh.
Then he says, the real killer or killers are indeed still free and among you.
Indeed, yeah.
Yep. So just tell OJ. He'll go find him along with his wife's real killers.
He's looking.
Everybody. So in 2001, it's actually on the Discovery Channel's New Detectives show, which was new at the time and a big deal. Yeah, all those forensic shows and stuff. That was a new thing back then.
Right.
They were hot shit. I mean, now they're ubiquitous. That's how popular they've gotten.
70 of them, yeah.
And they all do great. You know what I mean? So this is where they do all this. They're going to have the cops that were in the show doing it. They said this television program will tell the fascinating story of one of our most challenging criminal investigations while giving these Idaho law enforcement professionals the public recognition they so well deserve. It seems like everyone's a little slow here, right?
Yeah, it took 3 months, guys.
Daryl's a little slow. Yeah. I hate to say, because we say we don't make fun of the victims or the victim's family, but Shelley displayed both cunning.
She waited a bit, yeah.
She was slow on the uptake, but then after a while, then she's like setting up fucking traps and shit.
Stings
so it's like,
and shit, yeah.
You're smarter than to wait a month and a half to 2 months to get a welfare check on your dad. What the fuck's going on here? So, wow, she must have been busy or some shit. I don't know. So 2002, he's going to have an appeal. Okay. And his appeal is that pretrial photographic lineup used to identify him should not have been used against him because it was unnecessarily suggestive. Suggestive. Also challenged hearsay statements made by the Paul Gruber. Paul Gruber said this is Daryl on the videotape because his right to confront witnesses against him was undermined since Paul Gruber was dead. Well, because you killed him.
He wants to confront Paul Gruber on tape saying that was me?
Yes.
Because it's not me?
Because it's not me.
Okay.
And that's not Paul or whatever
it's
the fuck.
It's not fair that Paul gets to say that, and that's not even my Paul.
That is ridiculous. They went, are you out of your fucking mind? Get back to prison, stupid. God, you dummy. So 2007-ish, he had another appeal that didn't go anywhere, and then there's like an appeal to that in 2008, and that one is mainly for ineffective assistance of counsel.
Yeah, that's the last-ditch effort, right?
He said he was planning to testify.
Oh.
Which we know could have only helped him, obviously.
I was going to fix it, you guys. I was going to write this shit.
I was going to go up and fix it all. I could explain everything. What had happened was, shut the fuck up and sit there.
That's not Paul in the ground.
That's not Paul, and I didn't know him. I mean, I guess if you were the best actor in the world, maybe you could convince people of that.
Pull it off.
But DNA... and you have all his shit is tough.
Yeah.
So anyway, he said that the two attorneys took him into the judge's library for consultation, away from, so they could have in private, where the counsel purportedly promised Daryl that if he would agree not to testify, because the lawyers were like, please don't testify. You're an idiot. Seriously. We can't give you to a district attorney. He's going to eat you alive. Then the counsel would inform the jury of all the issues that they had withheld from the trial. So what he's saying is that his lawyers had evidence to free him.
Yeah.
But they were holding it back.
Yeah, because they didn't
put
want
it
him
out
to
there.
talk.
Because, that way they had a bargaining chip that when he wanted to testify, they could say, oh, no, don't testify, but then we'll give you the real evidence that frees you. Okay. And he's claiming that his attorneys, because... he didn't testify. Then the attorneys didn't give this magical evidence that would have cleared him. This sounds like a terrible appeal, honestly. Yeah. He said that they denied him his right to testify through a false promise. Now, the state says that regardless of his motives for not testifying, there was a showing on the record that he voluntarily waived his right to testify. Not our fucking problem, is what they said. Right. Yeah. That's between him and his attorneys. So... they said also that Kuehl failed to show any prejudice as a result of the counsel's conduct to support an ineffective assistance claim. Although not set forth in his allegation of ineffective assistance that's the basis of the appeal, the evidence that he alleged was withheld from the jury is summarized in the other allegations of ineffective assistance. So, here it is. Here's the theories that he said they should have pushed. 1, someone else had access to his residence and the motive to kill. We don't know who that was. Okay. 2, there was an imposter who likely killed the real Gruber and framed Daryl Kuehl. Did that imposter go to his daughter's house for Christmas too? Because he was still alive then. 3, Kuehl didn't have any motive to kill the real Gruber. Well, you stole from him a lot. That's a motive.
You got his boat, man.
Jesus. To begin with, much of this evidence was presented to the jury, although perhaps not with the particular slant that Kuehl would have liked. Well, then he can get a fucking law degree and do it himself because that's just a matter of style.
How else are you going to spin I've got his boat?
Yeah, and they said the defense counsel presented evidence in support of the imposter theory during cross-examination of everybody and through his closing and openings as well. So they said even if they made a false promise, even if we assume that's true, right, it still falls below an objective standard of reasonableness. Kuehl has not shown prejudice as a result of that promise and can therefore henceforth fuck himself, I believe is what they said officially in the documents here. 2007, they do an episode of the Forensic Files on this.
Oh, really?
Yes, it's season 11, episode 28, If I Were You. So that was on...
not bad.
2007.
God, they're good at naming this shit.
They are. Well, see, they can't put like words like horny and shit there like we can.
Yeah.
So 2012, he has another appeal and is denied again.
Mm-hmm.
He is currently incarcerated at the Idaho Correctional Center in Kuna, Kuna. Someone's going to say I pronounced that fucking wrong now. Because that matters to the story.
Kona.
Yeah, who gives a shit? To the Idaho Department of Correction. He is eligible for parole in 2034 when he'll be 84 years old.
Holy shit.
Not great. He is prisoner number 54471. And if you'd like to drop him a line here, Idaho State Correctional Center, Unit K, P.O. Box 70010, Boise, Idaho 83707. So there you go.
Boise. Yeah.
Up there in Boise there. And we have his address and all that shit. So there you go. That, everybody, is Sandpoint, Idaho. And one fucking weird murder, man. That is...
What a story.
What a story, Mark. That was crazy shit. That was a wild fucking story. So that said, if you like that story, you should tell people about it. Tell people the things... Yeah. And people love to review things they hate. Review things you like also. Yeah. Tell everybody about it. Give a review on whatever app you're listening on. Like we said, if you listen on an Apple Podcast, make sure it's automatically on download because otherwise they did a reset. They did an update and it turned your shit off. Don't let them turn your shit off. Turn it back on. So do that. Also, shutupandgivememurder.com. Tour dates, check them all out. 2 shows are already sold out, so get them right now. Only 10 shows left to get. April 5th and 6th, Sacramento, San Francisco. You're up first. Minneapolis, you could be our biggest show ever.
You bet.
Get those tickets, shutupandgivememurder.com. Also, virtual live show 420 is coming. The tickets will be on sale very, very shortly, so make sure to get those. Patreon.com/crime and sports. All the bonus shit. That's all we'll say. A couple hundred episodes of back shit you can listen to. Anybody, $5 a month or above. The best bargain in podcasting, damn it. You get 2 new ones every other week. 1 crime and sports, 1 small town murder, and you get it all.
You get it all.
This week, for crime and sports, we're going to talk about the strangest injuries that athletes have ever had. Doesn't have to be on the field. Could just be weird shit that happened to them. And then for small town murder, old-timey murders, back into the newspaper archives for some old-timey weirdness. And that's back by popular demand. People have been requesting that because it's been a while since we've done one. That is patreon.com/crime and sports. And you get a shout out at the end of the regular show. Social media, we are at Small Town Murder on Instagram. Follow us there. Go to the site. You can find all that shit there, all the links to everything. That said, thank you so much for joining us. And until next week, everybody, it's been our pleasure.
Bye.
If you like Small Town Murder, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.
A few miles from the glass spires of Midtown Atlanta lies the South River Forest. In 2021 and 2022, the woods became a home to activists from all over the country who gathered to stop the nearby construction of a massive new police training facility, nicknamed Cop City.
At approximately 9 o'clock this morning, as law enforcement was moving through various sectors of the property, an individual, without warning, shot a Georgia State Patrol trooper.
This is We Came to the Forest, a story about resistance.
The abolitionist mission isn't done until every prison is empty and shut down.
Love and fellowship.
It was probably the happiest I've ever been in my life.
And the lengths we'll go to protect the things we hold closest to our hearts. Follow We Came to the Forest on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest early and ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus.